Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to stand up here today on Youth Sunday. I've sat in these pews for so many years, sometimes singing and dancing in the back, and other times distracted playing Pokemon Go on my phone. Now I stand here as a student and a youth group member, but also as a graduating senior. In a few short months, I will be going somewhere new. And just like Jesus said, I am going somewhere you cannot come. And that applies to you too, Mom. Please don't come to college. I am filled with a mix of gratitude, excitement, and nervousness, and a lot of wonder about what comes next for me. So when I read this passage from John, where Jesus says, I give you a new commandment that you love one another, it felt personal, like a parting word that I needed to hear, and maybe one that I needed to share with all of you too. Because in this moment of transition, not just for me, but for all of us who are growing, changing, and adapting, Jesus is speaking directly to those feelings. He is preparing his own disciples for his departure. He knows that they're about to step into a world that is uncertain and painful, a world where they won't physically have him walking beside them. So what does that leave them with? Love. So just like my mom likes to bring up that her baby girl is leaving her, maybe physically I am, but love is what keeps us together. Love is what keeps us all together. Love for one another makes us a community. Love for God and love for each other not only binds us as a church community, but it binds us as a church family. So let's look at what Jesus says. He says, little children, I'm with you only a little longer. Where I am going, you cannot come, and I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You should also love one another. This isn't just a nice reminder, it's a charge, a calling, and a challenge. Jesus gives this commandment at a time of emotional chaos. Judas has just left the table to betray him, and Jesus knows that his arrest and crucifixion are soon to come. And yet, instead of fear and panic, he chooses love. That alone says something profound. When everything is breaking down, when betrayal and fear are in the air, Jesus speaks love and challenges us to do the same. As I look ahead at graduation and beyond, that speaks to me, because life is beautiful, but it's also really uncertain. I don't exactly know what college or adulthood will look like for me, but like many of us, we don't even know what the next year, week, month, or even tomorrow holds. But in the midst of uncertainty, Jesus calls us not to control, not to run, and not to hide, but to love. Having Jesus at the center of our lives and prioritizing this act of love, we naturally build a stable foundation. And this foundation is what protects us and builds us up to handle the future. That's not easy and it's not natural, but it's what keeps us strong and connected. So let's pay attention to the second part of what Jesus says in his commandment. Just as I have loved you, you should love one another. Now this is where it gets real, because Jesus didn't love with convenience. He loved through washing feet, breaking bread with those who would betray him, forgiving people who hurt him, weeping with friends, and showing up over and over and over again. Jesus loved through commitment. And trust me, as a teenage girl who can barely commit to where I want to eat for dinner, loving through commitment is very hard. But without commitment, love is just an empty promise. So when Jesus says, love like I loved you, he doesn't mean a polite smile or a quick how are you in the hallways. He means something deeper and something riskier. He means love that listens before it judges, love that forgives even when it's hard, love that serves without expecting something back, love that sees the image of God in people we usually overlook, love that invites, and love that stays even when things get uncomfortable, love that commits. That kind of love is radical, and honestly, it's hard, and I've failed at it many times. I've ignored someone who needed me, I've gotten impatient or let pride win, but this passage doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for faithfulness. To keep trying, to keep loving, and to keep becoming more like Christ, and to continue to build that faithful foundation. Jesus then says, by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. Not by our grades or our achievements, political opinions, if you pray before dinner, or even how many Bible verses you can post on your Instagram, but by love. This is how people will know that we belong to Jesus, and this is how people will know who we are. As someone about to leave home, I was really struggling with how I wanted to present myself in college. I was wondering what people would think of me. Do I want them to know that I'm a follower of God? And eventually, I came to the conclusion that if God means love, and being a disciple of God means to love one another, then I want to spread that as far as I can. And I didn't want people to know me as a disciple because I told them, but because I showed them. Because I chose to laugh with strangers, I made space for someone who felt left out, I showed up for a friend in need, listened with empathy, or I loved without needing a reward. And that's the life that I want to live. And I know that started right here. I want to take a moment to thank this church. Y'all have taught me this kind of love. From the moment when you welcomed me with open arms as a kid, you've taught me stories of faith in the Sunday school rooms, let the youth serve, or even when we messed it up. And when you supported our youth mission trips, our fundraisers, our ideas, and even when y'all let me do my silly dance moves during praise and worship. And I didn't tell Logan about this, but as a youth group, we got him a cross, and we all signed it on the back. Everything we put him through. There you go. Yeah. So thank you for every time that you let me do my silly dance moves in the back of the church during praise and worship. Y'all have been living this commandment and spreading and sharing unconditional love to me every day. And I believe that this is the love that has shaped me more than any sermon, any test, or any award could ever show. It will carry with me, and I want to thank you for being my example of Christ's love. Now, to the younger students here. This commandment is for you too. Don't wait until you're older to live it. You don't need a diploma or a driver's license to show Christ's love. You can start doing it right now. You can show it by inviting people to our Say Row, by encouraging my silly dance moves, sitting next to someone during Sunday dinner, telling people that they are wanted and loved within the church, just how Jesus wants and loves you. And if you're not sure where to start small. Start by loving the people right next to you, because that's where Jesus began to. So yes, I'm graduating, I'm packing up, and I'm stepping into something new, but I'm not leaving empty-handed. Love one another just as I have loved you. That's the commandment I will take with me. I want people on my campus and in my dorm and future workspace to say, there's something different about her. And I want that difference to be Jesus. Not because I preach it, but because I live it and I choose to love. And I hope that each one of us, no matter our age, stage, or situation, could recommit to this kind of love. The kind that doesn't always come easy, but always points back to God. It's not about being impressive, it's about being loving. And it's not about being right all the time, it's about being Christ-like. And it's not about how far we go, it's about how well we loved along the way. So today, let's go forward, not just as members of this church, but as disciples of his kingdom. Let us be known for our love, and let us love one another just as Christ has loved us. Amen.